Welcome back to Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed. I am Juliette Hahn here with my co-host, Brent Sopel, who has I think a mouthful of a cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Got hand delivered by the beautiful wife. It was amazing. Breakfast of champions.
Oh, I love it. God, I would be like, okay. I love sugar, but I can't do it anymore. And we're not going to, this is not what we're talking about today. So just let's preference that. We don't need to talk about my hormones, where my emotions are. I'll just start. I'm a fucking wreck. Today is what?
Maybe we should be really.
Well, no, because we're going to talk about your emotions.
Yeah,
we're still talking about you.
Awesome. That's a hell of an idea. Let's talk about the guy crying. Oh, amazing.
Oh, well, I mean, I think as my kids say, "Oh, you're crying again." I think I already did my share of it, and we are how many days? I think Montgomery said, and I am living day by day. So this will probably go out after I send off my oldest to college, because today we are recording July 29th. And I have friends being like, "Can you come here for a birthday? Can you do this?" I'm like, I have to look day by day, because if I look too much in advance, I literally start crying. It is not good. Anyways,
Well, I'm trying to live that way. So this is a great training. I guess training's learning curve here.
Yeah.
The hardest thing in the world is to live for the moment. Mm-hmm. Especially, when your mom, your kids are responsible, right? Back to school shopping. We walked into Staples. Yeah, a couple days. We're like, back to school. I'm like, Elizabeth, I fucking hated this store. I hated this. She's like, it was so much fun. Yeah, typical fucking girl, smart. My mom bought us some cool pencils. I'm like, fuck off. But living moment, we talk about it. We mention all the time. And you just said it. You're trying to live for the moment. Well, and it's hard.
Yes.
It's really fucking hard to do it. But if you can master that, it's a pretty special gift. Right? As a mom, you're always going to have to plan, I got to pick up my kids, in 2 hours. But if you can only, I guess, a quarter of you be there in that planning stage, and the 3/4 are in the moment, that's a pretty special place that most people don't ever get to. So I'm going to finish this Cinnabon.
Okay. Well, because I love that you said that, and I think it's great. I mean, as we know, I'm living in the moment, because if I don't, I will lose my shit. Because it's getting closer to, I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm doing it so I don't literally have like a fucking breakdown.
Well, but let me ask you this. How is it? Not like, take away why you're trying to do it. Take away, how is it?
Well, I love that. And I think this is actually a really great, this is going to segue into the topic we're going to talk about today. I think that situations happen to everyone. So there's I always look at everything as, okay, what can I learn out of this? Like, I really do. Like, what lesson is an emotional lesson? What is it that I'm going to learn? How can I be better from the situation? Some people might be like, that's exhausting, but I really do. No. Most things I do because I like to grow as a human. I am not someone that really looks ahead or looks back. I am more of a moment person. However, in this situation, I'm doing that. And yes, I'm not stressing about what's ahead. I'm not stressing, oh my gosh, my kid's going to be going to school. Like, I'm doing it on purpose to protect my sanity, because every time I look, I'm like, oh my God, it's that many days. Oh my God, it's that many days. And like Dan and I just had a really interesting, and if he listens, he's like, great, thanks for like airing our dirty laundry. Like,
Dan, just wait. The rest of the episode's about me, so I got you covered. They won't even remember this conversation.
Yeah, right, I know. And also, Dan's not listening to this right now. But we had a discussion. It wasn't an argument. It was more of a heated discussion, because I was like, this is what I need from you right now. This is what I need from you, because I am losing my shit. And I know you're like, I'm getting to it, but the constant emails I'm getting of reminders that it's not done. You've never like I said this, I was like, you've never let me down. You've always done what's on your plate. I've never had to be like, wait, is Dan getting it done? Is Dan getting it done? I know there's some partners. I have friends.
You've never had to worry. It always got done. So.
Always got done. And I never been like, this is the timeline. However, in this college stuff, because of the amount of paperwork and the amount of stuff. And then I also have a child that's like, Mom, is that done? And I'm like, honey, Dad's doing that. So he's coming to me asking me, why isn't it done? Dan was waiting on things, but he's like, well, I need to get it done when I need to get it done. I was like, okay, and we weren't seeing eye on eye. I said to him, listen, what I need from you in this situation is to get it done on my timeline. And I know that sucks because you have to do something that's off of your timeline, but I'm literally losing my shit. Every time I get an email saying this isn't done, I'm like, oh my God, well, what else is not done? And then I go down the checklist and it's literally throwing me. And he's like, okay. He's like, but how can I help you in that without getting it done now? Can Montgomery come to me and say, I was like, honey, they don't. Like in the morning, it was like, put my stuff in the dryer. My one son, I was like, Dad was sitting right there. Why did you text me? And I was sleeping.
And that's where I was going to jump in here for a second. It's,
yes.
Again, this is the detachment apart that you have you're going to have a hard time when they leave. Dad could be sitting right there. But who's the person they go to? Mom. No matter if Dad's there, that's just their instinct, right? And obviously Montgomery will always come for you first because that, the retarded connection that we have as dyslexics, right? So he'll bypass, and it's nothing personal, right? You're their safe space.
And it's because I stayed home. So it is, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but it is interesting because in my brother's house, because he's the main one that stays home, or I have friends that the husband is the main one that stays home, the kids go. So it's really whoever it is, and it has changed. But typically, right, it was the mom. So 100%. But there's times where I'm like, guys, guess what? I have a full-time job now too. I know that's like crazy to understand. It's just an adjustment in our house because it is like, so I can't take on everything that I still did. And Dan, I mean, gosh.
But it's ingrained in them.
Exactly. And
it's that foundation. You built that foundation of, we've talked about this, you had to be on that schedule, boom, 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 to function. Yeah. But you've ingrained that into them. So there's no right or wrong. Like you were talking about, you got some friends or dads are home. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever's going on in your house. Dad's staying home, mom's staying home, grandma's staying home. There's no right or wrong. No judgment at all. It's what works for you guys inside your four walls. But for a certain period of time, you did it for a long time. So that's them. It is ingrained in them. It's almost taking a cinder block, breaking it with a sledgehammer for them to break away from and start going to Dan. So it's again, I look at my house. When I was married, I was never home, right? I traveled.
Right.
We played 82 games this, in the regular season, plus like 6 playoff games. The year we won the Stanley Cup, it was like 115 games or something. And we started off in Europe. Right. We were, when I was first, playing pro first couple of years, more than that, up until somewhat recently, we had 1 day off a month. And a lot of times our day off was flying back from like California. So the game's not until 9 o'clock. A lot of time we stay overnight and fly, because we're not getting home till 6, 7 in the morning with the time change or depending on where we're going. So we're never home. It was ingrained in my kids. Go to mom, and every time, if Dad's home, now you can go ask him. And there's no right or wrong, but it is frustrating, hard for you. But off topic, how does it feel being in the moment?
Yeah, it feels good where there's no where I'm not stressing about what's ahead. Like I know, all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, the kids are even going back, soon. I mean, I feel like we just started summer because of New York, so it is this. But I have to say, I have a couple friends that are like, we're having a birthday. Can you be there? And I'm like, I can't look. And so I'm sorry, I can't make any plans. So I'm like that annoying friend right now that's like, I don't know, plan. And if I'm there, I'm there. And they're like, well, we want you there. And I'm like, I love that and I appreciate that. But I don't know what state of mind I'm gonna. I also don't want to go to your birthday and be like the fucking crying person. And I don't want to ruin, so I'm not committing to anything, which does feel nice. But it's also
welcome to my world.
But it's also not super realistic, right? I mean, it's not, but it is what it is for this time.
Can I rebuttal off that?
Yeah, of course.
Why isn't it realistic?
Well, because there are times where I do need to like, hey, as a family, all my family's getting together for like Christmas and Thanksgiving. Hey, are you going to be around to do it? It's not realistic to completely do this for a long time because
Well,
there are
you,
things that I do need to make plans, travel plans. Like I'm coming to
100%.
Chicago for the golf event. I need to
100%. But
yeah.
you said there's certain times.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're right. But not full time.
No, right. And so it is a good lesson. You are 100% right. It is a very good lesson. And I do want to say this, it is off topic, but my husband is like, he does the food shopping and the cooking. Like I have to say, I can't complain about, I mean, he takes on so much, but the thing that I think it's going to be really great as we go into this next conversation is it is about the communication. And how many times have we talked about this? We all have to communicate how we're feeling in any kind of business partnership, relationship with kids, because not everyone understands where we're feeling. And we think, why don't they understand? And we get angry and frustrated. But it's like, oh, I didn't actually think about that way. That's what Dan said. I said I had it. So I figured you had it. I was like, yeah, but I'm getting reminders and it's killing my anxiety. Like he's like, okay, I hear you. And I will be better at that.
Let's take a little spin on that one because this happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Obviously, went golfing yesterday with a couple gentlemen, father, son. They got an amazing app. Go, it's for golf, here in Illinois. And then we go for lunch. And the dad was talking about his friend's got a lot of money. Could go on trips with them, but he gets upset. He always turns them down to go on the boys' trip or whatever. Again, and the dad, he's like, I had my cousin died, my best friend. He had like 3 deaths last year. So he's like, it's really put in perspective to me life in a different way after that. Like I'm trying to live a more free. If I'm working, but I'm taking time off and going to go golfing with my son, or I'm going to go golfing with my friends. He's like, I got a beautiful wife that lets me, that allows me to do that stuff. But he said, I got one friend that always there somewhere, perfectly ironed clothes everywhere, and he's got got this money, he has the ability to do this stuff, and he doesn't. And he's like, I get frustrated. So I said to him, can I say something towards this? He goes, yeah. He goes, that's all self-esteem. I said, oh, that's all self-esteem. I said, he gets his self-esteem from work, and he's afraid to take any time away because if you pull that self-esteem, it's not money because he never has to work another day in his life. It's all self-esteem. Mm-hmm. What if I walk away for 3 or 4 days? Things collapse, and then my business goes to collapse. And then when I got no self-esteem, or, I got to perfectly iron my pants or my shirt when they're out with the boys, and he comes in looking like me, all scruffy, and he's like, you don't need, it's all self-esteem. And we're having lunch. He's like, wow, holy shit. Never thought of it that way. Back to Dan and you and I, us, craziness is, you said communication, 150% communication, but it's understanding what that communication needs to be. Mm-hmm. How do they learn?
And how does he interpret it?
You and I, we're diving into this. We're going to do a bigger episode on this. Let's go back to that love language, right? Mm-hmm. Say your love language is words of affirmation. Look, Dan's coming home with gifts. And you're like, what the fuck? Why does he keep doing this? Well, in Dan's mind, he's doing something good. In your mind, you're getting pissed off. If he doesn't know what that is,
right, it's not his fault.
It's
right.
Again, it's not going to turn out the way it is. So, as you said, you guys, he does a lot. He works. Goes to the city. You've got how many years you been married now?
This September it's going to be 21.
21. Wow. That's again, that's pretty amazing. Everybody has ups and downs, just because relationships, obviously men and women.
Of course, you have to. I mean, if you don't.
What do they say? 70% of lesbian relationships end up in divorce. Who starts that? That's now we're going down a different rabbit hole. But it's.
And I don't know who says that. You just make that up.
But it's the communication, not understanding, what that means. Because how many times here do I get knocked down? How many times am I on my ass because of of how hard I work to try and raise this foundation and grow this foundation to heights it's never been. And because it's schools around here went back to school last week.
Oh, I saw that. I saw a post and I like threw up in my mouth. I was like, whoa.
And the fear, like, and then, this will segue into what this next topic is, the fear of, back to school. So I'm just, walking in and we had to buy a printer. I'm like, all the yellow and shit. I'm like, yellow. I just want to I want to go and pee all over and make it really yellow and this. But it's understanding how your significant other, whoever that is, whatever that is, how they learn.
Yeah. So I don't mean to cut you off, but this is actually a perfect segue into this because you are in a relationship. How long with Elizabeth now? It's 8 months, 9 months?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what is really is awesome because you guys have had where there's different phases of relationships, but when you're like older, you just get into it. There's not like, you just got to get into the relationship, right? Like you guys have both been in other relationships, but you guys watched the movie.
Never.
Right. You don't want to think that she was in a relationship before you, right? You're that guy.
She likes illegal immigrants that are dyslexic. Her other two massive crushes and dead center in the world are dyslexic too. I'm like, oh, you like some us retards, eh? You can't read.
I don't think you're allowed to use that word. I think that is political. Oh, actually, Penelope said you were allowed because you're on your ADHD and dyslexic.
I've never called anybody else a retard. I call myself a retard. Let's clarify. Am I right on that one?
Yes, you're 100%. And so anyone that is like, oh, I can't believe you said that. Anyone that's like, PC, that's like, oh, we can cancel. That's not. He is calling himself. He is not. He is the most. He doesn't always politically correct say things. So that actually leads us into the movie because you guys were curious. Again, there's nothing political. I'm Canadian. I'm Canadian, and I think politics is a shit show. I don't like anyone. I just want some. I'm like down the center. Can we just all just get along?
And the foundation doesn't discriminate. Like dyslexia doesn't discriminate. Exactly. I mean, race, religion, sex, gender. We don't care. So this podcast will never become political. I'm Canadian. I'm from God's country. Right. Yeah. So that's the real Canadian, not the Ontario is not, that's the fake Canadian. So we can go on. Well, this will never be.
No, because I also don't have, I don't have strong political and anything. I think everyone's liars on every side.
This purpose, I did the other night and watched the movie. I don't think they call it a documentary.
I think it's a movie.
JD Vance.
Right. And what is it called?
Now running with President Trump now. Hillbilly something?
Something. Yes. And I watched it in 2020 when it was out. But go ahead. I'm going to let you.
No, it's Elizabeth wanted to watch it. I never heard about it before. It came out in 2020, so I was in my own, just like every other COVID, I was in my own shit. So I didn't even know existed. But it taught, she's like, it talks about his life and it's supposed to be some stuff about mental health. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'll watch it because that's what I live.
And you also love to learn. I mean, you are a learner. Like these are the things that you do so you can hear other people's perspectives. Go ahead.
100%. It's being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, that I'm able to put myself in the person I'm speaking to, shoes over a call. And, this is the text message, one of the text messages that I got today. My God, the desire not to be in pain is beginning to wear the weight of wanting to live.
Oh, this would be so hard. Yeah.
So these are the things that I get.
And you get every day.
Yes. Not
multiple.
Once or twice. Yes. So I've got to be able to put myself. Granted, we talked about this and never gotten into full detail of all my shit because some of the people I'd have to mention aren't okay with all this shit. There isn't too many things that I haven't gone through, and you can vouch for that. But she wanted to see it, so happy wife, happy life. I heard that's a saying. So that'll be one of the next dyslexic foundation T-shirt. So I put it on, And at the end of it, I couldn't make a determination if it was good or bad. Now, do you want to step in or do you want to go?
I do want to step in. So you guys called me and what you said was, I had a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. And I said, oh, okay. Can you, nope,
And you
I
get all
don't.
excited. Feelings.
I was like,
yeah.
what are we gonna
George
talk
hat
about?
comes on.
Yeah, I was like, let's talk. Let's dive into this. And Elizabeth started laughing and she's like, she's like, I kind of think, and not laughing like haha
Well,
laughing, but like I
Yeah,
kind of feel like I know where it goes.
I had no idea what emotions. I didn't know
You didn't
where
know
the
how you were
correlations
feeling.
were in the movie. I had a ton of emotions at the end. I cried a lot, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what. I couldn't piece it together. So then go ahead and Elizabeth filled it in.
Yeah. Well, so, right. That's what you said to me. And I said, and we've talked about this many times. I've talked about this in my podcast. I used to talk about this with my clients, is that sometimes feeling feelings instead of actual visual memory feelings are more important, because you have these feelings when something comes up and you're like, I either feel really happy and I don't know why, or I feel really like not good and I'm not sure, uncertain, or you get angry or sad and you don't know, but it's like something. And those are the kind of ones that are really important. Now, and I said this, and we'll say this when I had clients, like, I'm not a psychologist, so you need to maybe do some work with someone that's trained. But if it's like a nice light feeling, you can do that on your own, right? It's not something that you can't. But if it's not a good feeling, and you said, I don't really know, it was not, I had a lot of feelings, and you're like, it was just really of him being misunderstood, and I just felt really uncomfortable, and it just was a lot of feelings. And you said, I'm going to kind of dive into it and think about it. And Elizabeth said, I think I know. And the reason why we're talking about this, I'm going to preface a couple of times. As we said in the beginning of the episode, communication is so important. And when you're growing in a relationship, it's so important. And we've talked about a lot of times dyslexia, ADHD, you're misunderstood. If your partner doesn't understand when you're communicating, or like you didn't do something in any relationship, this can go for all relationships. We're speaking as dyslexic ADHD people that have been in many different relationships, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. And so if this kind of conversation we're having can help someone be like, okay, I need to be more gentle with my partner, or I need to be more gentle with myself. So Elizabeth said, and then she also texted us, which I thought was great. Do you want to go and then I can read this, or do you want me to read this?
I don't know. Go ahead and read it, because I don't know where to go.
Well, she said, the reason why she thinks that the movie brought up some emotions, and it was not so much due to the actions and experiencing matching yours. It really wasn't that you guys had like a similar life in that sense, like, with your family and all that, but the emotions of not fitting in, being overwhelmed and unequivocally to handle situations, like leaving family home to do bigger and better things, feeling guilty for not being there when needed. And at the end, you were really teary when his wife learned he had been through, stayed and helped him and loved him regardless. And that is, it's being seen and heard, right? And you guys have, like, your relationship, you guys are doing a lot of work in a short period of time. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I hope Elizabeth was
no
okay
idea
reading that.
No, I obviously I didn't even know she knew I was crying. So
you're a silent crier. Like, your voice doesn't, like, there's been a couple of times now I realized, I was like, oh, you were teary. And I didn't know, because when I cry, it's like, and I can't find my face gets all fucked up. You like just have tears that go down.
Yeah. So I didn't even know, but we kind of talked, because as we talked yesterday, we were in the car together, we're on the phone with you, and we hung up. I'm like, I said, did you feel me? She's like, oh yeah, hardcore. Mm-hmm. But it was, I had no idea what or why, I felt what I felt. But then she said it 100%. It was, there's a portion where I still don't get where he was at a dinner. So he was at Yale, and he was meeting all these law firms. So I don't know if it was supposed to mingle with these, the presidents or whatever CEOs of these law firms to be able to get a second or chance interview to get a summer internship. And he sat down by the guy. He kind of sought out the guy that he wanted to work for because it was in Washington, D.C., because his girlfriend was going to Washington for her internship. And he looked down, and there's like 62 forks to the left and 92 spoons to the right, and bread's over here and bread's over there. The anxiety he got from he got up, walked out, called his girlfriend. I'm like, he was like, I didn't know what to use. I didn't know what to use. And she said, well, put your two fingers like this. This is bread, and this is
dinner. So your bread goes to the left, and your drink, because so Dan did this to me for like when early on, and not that I didn't know it, but because the B's and the D's.
I still don't. I don't understand. But
so a B goes that way. So bread is on this side, and then D, because your D
hang on.
drink.
This is supposed to act like a B?
Yes, I know. It doesn't look like a B. So that's. Oh. I know.
I was trying to figure out. So I had no idea.
So so that's supposed to be a B. I know, that's why I never could get it. Like, but when you take I did I think I shared with you dance assembly when I was little, and that's what they taught you. But because of my dyslexia, I would always be like, oh, I need someone else to pick up their drink first. So your drinks are always to the right, and your bread is always to the left.
I had to write it down to see what
because that's for a dyslexic person, it's really tough, because that's what he would talk to me early industry stuff, and I was like, yeah, I learned all that, but I don't understand it. And just like you, I was like, oh, that's supposed to be a B. I get it, but
no clue.
So bread and drink. So your water's your drink. Yeah.
But him sitting there, I knew exactly how he felt. And it just wasn't for myself. It just wasn't once or twice in that position. There's hundreds. Felt how not seen or heard. So it was 100%. She was exactly accurate of how I felt. Just seeing my feeling his anxiety. Not literally. He felt, as he walked through the room, that he was invisible. Nobody saw him. And that was, majority of my life. Mm-hmm. And this kind of goes back to, we talked about, I think this week, our next episode of the podcast, which is obviously we're taping May 29th week, I think. So was that August 1st? This Thursday?
This Thursday is the one that's going to come out, right?
And that's when we talk about what took me out for 4 days, right?
Yeah.
And this is part of it.
Mm-hmm. But and this is what we have talked about the podcast for us, that we started it to really help others. But along the way, we have done some healing that we kind of didn't realize. I would be like, oh, I guess, okay, I thought I was okay with that. Apparently I was not okay with that, and even just talking about, Montgomery going to college and all the emotions and school starting, and just having someone on the other side, even though, yes, I have people in my life that understand, but it's a different level of understanding when you and I are talking here. So someone can be listening to this and saying, oh my gosh, okay, I completely understand that now. I completely understand where he's coming from. And I can put myself at a time that I was maybe at a dinner with him and thought he was being a dick, but it wasn't. Now I realize it was because he was anxious, because he didn't know what to do or what to see or where to, all of these things. And that makes a lot of sense. You were thrown into this world.
We've talked about this many times. I've obviously, I was able to do something. I think, I'm one of 1,300 people in the world to win one Stanley Cup. I think there's like 3,400 people have ever played in NHL. 1,400 have ever won the Stanley Cup once, and then 400 have won it twice, and 200 something to agree with that. So I'm like one of 1,400 ever in the world. I never do things easy, obviously. The goal and the dreams and of the foundation is to obviously grow it to a place that dyslexia has never been in the world. But I've learned a lot. I had a couple calls last week. One, and every non-dyslexic that I speak to, when it comes to this money, like, oh, you got to partner up with this celebrity. You got to partner up with this athlete. You got to partner up with this rich dyslexic. And no, I can say that I think I am one of, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 2 people in this world that are okay with their dyslexia. And that's why I talk about being homeless. That's why I talk about being suicidal. That's why I talk about being addicted, because that means you're healing and you're good. Guys like Richard Branson, oh yes, I'm dyslexic. They're not okay. So I'll use this as an example. If you're not okay with something, like let's just say addiction. If you're not okay with your addiction, you're not going to donate money to a charity foundation about addiction.
Right.
That's not how this works. When you're fully okay with it and you love yourself completely, then you will. So everyone wants to talk to you, and say, you, Charles Schwab, not okay with it. Richard Branson, not okay with it. These people aren't okay with it. So how many times have those guys taken me down?
Yep. And they talk about it. So, and someone might say, no, he talks about it. And what Brandon's talking, they are okay surface level. They're not okay deep level. They're not okay talking about the deep, dark stuff that when we started this podcast, and you guys can go way back when I was like, oh, Brent, you're little, and I didn't use the word negative. I said, I need to shine some sunshine over here. And not talk about the real stuff. Like,
what are the glitter farts from the trolls? Woo! Glitter.
Exactly. Well, exactly. But I was like, and that was where it was like, I talked about the good things about my dyslexia. I didn't go around talking about how my teacher called me retarded, or how I said to my mom, I'm so glad that God only made me ugly on the inside, or dumb on the inside, or whatever I said. Like, those things don't feel great to talk about. But once you do talk about them, and once you realize that you can help other people, how many people have said to us, oh my gosh, thank you, because their kids are going to go through. It's great when your kid is getting diagnosed to show them successful people, 100%. Yep. But if you're always constantly showing them the positive, your kids at one point in their life, any kid, non-dyslexic or dyslexic, is going to be like, am I going to be successful? Right? They don't always feel confident. And so when you're constantly showing all these great things, you need to show both sides of everything. That's why we talk about the strengths and the weaknesses. You need to talk about both sides of everything. And that's why the communication and knowing your kid and doing the hard work in those situations is so important. Bless you. And I have to say, wait, I read Elizabeth's thing wrong. Not surprisingly. She said I meant unequipped, not unequivocally, whatever it is. So unequipped. That's, yeah.
And to that one is, you remember as a kid, mama had a baby and her head popped off, right? Yeah. Flicked off the little dandelion. But, that dandelion, mama had a baby, her head popped off. But that dandelion will grow back because you didn't get the roots.
Right.
So think of the top, that song is most dyslexics. All these Schwab, Branson, all these rich people, pop in the head. But that pain of that root is still there. They're not okay. Yes, are they successful? But are they truly happy? 100 million, 50% not.
Right.
They do not love themselves. Okay. And they hide behind their money. So if you pull something from the roots, and that's what I do, that's where I go, roots first, so it never comes back, right? Every single one of us in the world has trauma. We talked about this just recently. What'd you post? And our trauma is the worst trauma ever because it's ours.
Yeah.
But the more trauma that we can prevent with the dyslexia, the easier a kid's life or anybody's life is going to be.
Right. And just like, you know, as we've started this podcast, I mean, you've done, we say, you know, how many people that you have helped and how many people that you have walked through situations. And you have said, yeah, there's stuff that I don't like to talk about and think about because I'm not there yet. I'm not there to kind of heal. I don't like to watch a lot of different things. I kind of like to stay where I know what's going to happen, because if I know what's going to happen, I don't have to be taken down. And you're now in a healthy relationship with a healthy woman that is also like, okay, I see you and I'm here and I'm supporting you and I love you even for your differences and all of this. And so that's uncomfortable for you, right? And it's taken you a little while to open, to be like, okay, I feel this, like I'm not going to be left, I'm not going to be let down, because those are what normally happens. And so there's so many people out there that can relate to that, dyslexic or not dyslexic. Yours comes and, you know, from your dyslexia not being seen and heard as a child. That's where yours come from. Someone else can be listening to this and they can be like, oh, okay, I wonder where mine came from. But it is important to do that work. And we have talked about this in the beginning. We haven't talked about it in a while, but having a platform with a comfortable person you can talk to, seeking out professional help if that's needed, writing things down, like those feelings, as I said, those feelings where you're like, ooh, I don't know why I feel weird. Go back and talk about it to yourself. If you're not comfortable talking about it to someone else, go on a voice text, write it down and dive into it a little bit, because if you do not heal it, it's coming out somewhere. And as you have said, it's those skeletons are coming out, right? And and there's been times I've said to you, like, wait, I think you need to talk about that, and you're like, I'm not ready, and I'm like, you're stuffing. You're and we talked about
stuff-a-thon, right?
Yeah, we haven't done that, but we're on. You know, that's on our list.
Yeah,
but those things are really, really important.
It's hard, yo.
Yeah, not easy.
Here, obviously, you know, taking 46 years to connect with somebody, and you're the first person. People are like, what are you talking about? Try living that way. It's not fun. You know, life has never been easy last year, and it's learning what those feelings are. And I always have a joke to go with it. You know, being sober, yeah, I gotta have sober sex the rest of my life. God damn it! Let's play sober golf. Come on, no way, can't do this. But it's sitting with those feelings. Sitting and golfing yesterday, I hit every goddamn tree in the fucking golf course. I got to sit with those feelings all day long. I want to chop every one of those assholes down. They're in my way. I always make a joke of it. Like, and joke's the wrong word. I always try and make light of everything, is because it's fucking heavy. It's hard. It's hard to be almost 50 and just connecting with people, and being let down. And, obviously, we're coming out, we just finished and just hit our July goal. Do you want to, touch upon that as
I do want to touch upon it, but I do want to go back for a second and say there's people out there that never do the work, so they never connect with anyone. And so even though you're 47, you have to be proud of yourself. You're 47, right?
Going on 67. My my brain's 77, but I'm still in Illinois. Where's my parking pass? My handicap parking pass. Paying for it.
But you have to, and I know you're making light and I'm not making light, and you're like, God, get off of this. But you allow that. And we've talked about it. It kind of was like, I said to you, okay, well, what made you be like, okay, Juliet is not going to screw the foundation. She's not. And you're like, I don't know. I think just because I stuck around and was like, I believe in this. I believe in you. And that's the thing. Sometimes it only takes one person to believe in you and believe that you're good enough.
It means, obviously that means the world to me, because if you take a look at, you can't, obviously you got some taglines, the foundation, but the one big one is you can't get to two till you get to one. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't connect with the second person until I found that first person. And, have you stuck around? Yes. Have you helped me more than anybody? 100 million %, right? To get here, so that connection helped me, be able to connect with Elizabeth. So there's so many things that I'm grateful in our friendship. It's, the list is too long to say, but you can't connect with somebody do you understand yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And it took me 46 years, to understand what I am, or, so everybody always talk about, we talk about this, the label. It's not a label, right? I'll refer to that. If I didn't know how I found out when I was 32 years old, guarantee you and I wouldn't be here together. I wouldn't be with Elizabeth, and 150 million% would have killed myself by now. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be here. So I once I had those, not the label, the understanding of what I have, that's when I can slowly start learning to be okay with it, start understanding it. How do you understand what your love language is without being in a relationship, right? Right. Mm-hmm. And what makes, so it's,
yeah, but you also, it has, but you also, and this is what I want the listeners to listen to, because you allowed yourself, as uncomfortable as it was, and I, again, didn't do it on purpose. Like, I didn't know what a dark place you were in, right? I didn't know. I knew that you had dyslexia. I knew that was important. I knew what you said, like 4 things that I was like, wait, I always say that. Like, I want to help. I want to get involved, right? So it was me just kind of pushing you, but you allowed it. You could have said no, right? And we talked about this many times, so I'm not going to go into the details, but I was like, let's start the podcast. You were like, no. And then I was like,
stalked me.
you could think that. But you finally were like, fine. And we did talk about this, and I don't remember what episode, but just so if someone didn't hear, I said to you, what made you stick around, right? Like, was it not to let me down, not to let yourself down because you realized this was a gang? And you said there were some days that you were like, I don't know. And there were some days I gave you the out, right? We talked about this on the episode that's coming out the Thursday. Is I also have said to you, I never want you to feel like you're stuck. Like, I never want you to be like, okay, I'm done with this, but I don't know. So this is where people need to understand themselves and also have the communications. And I can't go, like, communicating, I believe, is one of the number one things to make someone successful in life, and being well-rounded. Not, you can be successful in business and not be a great communicator, but being a well-rounded, happy human. To me, if someone asks me, I've always said it, but being able to communicate your feelings to someone else and being open and honest, and then having that reciprocated, right? Because you could communicate and not have it, but like,
and that's the dyslexia side, is you can communicate it, but you have to know who you're communicating it to and how they learn.
They learn. I mean, I've had to switch. I had to tell, I was like to Dan, when we had our heated conversation, I said, I don't understand how you don't understand. Like, I am saying it clear. And that doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does. And I just read a text from someone about days that they could see for working out, and I read it wrong. Like, I put that on myself all the time. And I was like, oh, wait, you're going away. She's like, no, that's not what I said. And I read it again, and I was like, oh, I know that about myself.
I did it yesterday. I'm trying to think who said what. Currents text me, something about his dog, and I'm like, I responded like, oh, do you need me to get her? And on the bottom half of the text, he's like, no, I already dropped dog off my sister, or something, like completely messed it wrong. So, but it's understanding.
We have to know ourselves, right?
Yeah. It's understanding ourselves. And I've always said, I think I've probably said this a million times. It's, you have to know who you're communicating with. For an example, being a Canadian, am I talking to a Canadian? So am I talking Celsius, or am I talking Fahrenheit? Or am I talking to American? Am I talking Celsius or Fahrenheit? Or am I talking to my, friends in Europe, Reef in Finland? Is it Celsius or Fahrenheit? And what I mean by that is, how do they learn? Mm-hmm. How do they hear me? And not only hearing me, process me. Right? If you're, Sam drove 10 miles, you say that to me, I've got no idea where the fuck Sam is. So I'm not talking to them the way they learn. So not only communicating, learning to be able to communicate in different ways, because not every person hears it the same way.
Yep. And that's where you have to be okay with yourself. So I love that. And thank you for sharing all that. July. So we hit 10,000. So if you're just tuning in, we did 7777 for the month of July because it is the foundation's birthday. Brent sober for 7 years. It was the 7th month, 7 upside down hockey sticks, so many different sevens. So we came up with the campaign and it was like, let's hit it. We hit it on July 15th. July 17th was the 7th year, which is just really cool. Again, 7/7/17. There's a lot of sevens. And I sometimes love to I don't dive deep into those things, but I'm like, okay, that's a coincidence. Like, that's not a coincidence. That's like something we need to learn.
Whoa.
I dive deep enough.
Whoa. Did you just say you don't dive deep?
No, because I can't tell you exactly what the 7, like someone could say, oh, 7 means this and da. Like, so I dive.
Don't believe anything with listeners.
A little bit.
Don't
I go here and then
goddamn word she is saying right now. She goes down rabbit holes and comes out with carrots.
That is true, but not someone like a scientist would know everything about, right, the sevens and what all the meanings there. I'm just saying I don't know all the details of it. I just know, wait, that's a lot of really good.
Oh, if there's
numbers.
10, you only know 9. Sorry, you're bad.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So we hit 7777. And it's kind of funny because I also was like, let's do 77,000. You're like, I think that's really ambitious. And I was like, oh, I'm ambitious. And then it was like, well, let's be realistic. So we did 7777. We hit it on July 15th. And it was like, okay, that was amazing, right? It was the foundation. It was kind of the first online campaign we did. And it was successful. And it felt great. And then it was like, you know what? There's so many different things. And I think you said, let's see if we can hit 10,000 because let's help. I know I can help 4 more kids because school's going back. We might as well
keep
talking about this.
Yeah. The 15th, we're like, we just hit a goal that we've never hit on, in a short time on an online campaign. I said, we've never hit $10,000 in a month in an online campaign. Well, let's try and hit that. And here we are, Monday, July 29th. We hit 10,000.
We hit 10,000. So the other funny thing is Brent's like, I'll do something. He said,
it's not funny. It's not funny.
I think it's hilarious.
Let's pull this shit back.
Like, I'll do something. And so it was like, people were like, cut your hair and do all these things. And I was like, oh, Brent, shave your head.
You and Keith, what Keith, to go with shave your head. I want to see the chrome dome. Sopel does chrome dome. You two, I think you guys spent 3 hours going back and forth. I'm like, what the hell is this shit?
I said, oh, that's a good one. But then I said to you, because that is like a big thing. Wouldn't it be funny if you wanted to keep your hair, you could dye it gold or do like gold tips. And then I just started fucking with you, right? Because it was like, this is fun. This is funny.
No, there was just fucking. This is where you want to go.
Yeah, I was like, what will you do? So this morning, I think we put a post up, shave his head or do gold tips. If we hit 10,000, I don't know how quickly that happens. Oh. And we were 450 away or something.
I'm not even going to tell you right now. Oh, so eat those apples. I am going to do a video today.
Okay.
Congratulating everybody that we did it. And on that video, I will release what I'm doing.
Okay, so again, this is going out afterwards, so you guys will see it, but you can go if you want to see the fun videos. Because Brent, that's one thing that you've been so good. Also, just hey, I'm having a tough week. I'm having a tough day, and it's really resonating with people because there's a lot out there, right? There's lots of stuff, and as we always talk about, everyone's going through something, and just to know, or just to get a laugh on something, or just to know that other people are, kind of not in like the best spot, or I'm having a good day. It does help because you feel seen and heard or understood, which is, you're not alone. I mean, that's so important to you. That's the tagline of the foundation. Yeah. And so you're going to share with us. So we're not going to be alone. What you're going to do, which is, this is. I think I've had a couple people be like, "Don't let him shave his head," and I was like, "I have no control over any of this."
How about today's picture?
Oh yeah. Shaving, someone said, just shave the center and just have a long, like, I mean, shave everything. That's hilarious, right? Shave everything except the top.
That's pretty good, though, eh?
It is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to take a long time to grow back. Now, hair does grow back. I am a type of person.
Listen, I'm not. I'm almost 50. I'm not going bald anywhere anytime
soon. No, you got a good head of hair.
Rico Suave. I should be doing some hair commercials. Or, back in the day, I had a good looking belly button, but not anymore because I had my appendix out and they put an extra hole there. And I got like a 3 button. I got 3 belly buttons now, so I can't go on the OnlyFans and have a belly button off.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so as you're listening to this, it's already done. So, right. Well, so that's the thing. It's up to him what he's going to do. But you can go to Brent Sopel on Instagram, Brent.Sopel, right? Isn't that what it is on Instagram? Sure. You can also go to the Sopel Foundation on dyslexia because that will be all over the place on what Brent did. So if you missed it and you're like, wait, what did he do? I don't know. You didn't tell me in this episode. This is out in a couple weeks. So this will be coming out sometime in August. So that was July. And then we do have some exciting news that we're going to be doing in July for things that are happening in October that people are going to want to know about. So
today's Monday, so August 1st is on Thursday.
Yep. So Thursday, right. So go to the sopelfoundation.org so you can kind of follow along. You can put an email in there. We don't spam you. It's just like, hey, these are things. I don't even think we've actually sent out many newsletters at all yet.
No, newsletters will probably
like once a month.
Out. Yeah, we'll go out starting, I think, in November. Obviously we have in September the golf event.
Yep.
And then obviously October.
We have an event that we're not...
Well,
we can talk
it'll
about
be
it
out.
here.
We can talk about.
Okay.
We're gonna have dinner with the Stanley Cup. Cup's coming back to Chicago for an event with the Sopel Foundation. It's a private event, so
you gotta buy tickets or
October. Yes.
Or what can they do?
Oh, I guess we can do. We can talk about that campaign. So you can buy tickets, or what we're gonna do for August is for every $20 donation to the foundation, your name goes into a hat. And we're going to do a live, I don't know if it's a live draw or a tape draw when Juliet and Danny and some other individuals fly here to Chicago for the September 16th golf event. So it's maybe September 14th or September 15th. Yeah. We are going to it's either going to be recorded
or live
of that. And that when we announce that person... So every time you donate $20, your name goes into a draw to have a chance to win dinner with the Stanley Cup. 2 tickets to win dinner with the Stanley Cup. So you can donate, once for that $20 or, 5 times, for those $100, whatever, $20 at a time, whatever it is. But you're going to have the ability to have dinner with the Stanley Cup again. First time it's been coming back to Chicago in many, many years.
Okay. And I'm going to say, are we doing 20? I thought we were going to have a number that's also significant. So like 25 or whatever it is. And it's going to be around there. It's not going to be.
It's going to be, again, it's not going to be more it's not, we're not talking $100 or, it's going to be something. Yeah. So there, maybe is it 22.50 or whatever that final number is. It's going to be somewhere in that area.
Because I'm going to do a half dive into some numbers for August.
So you're going to come up kind of like the 777. You're going to have to do the half dive. See, now folks, don't tell me she doesn't drive down the rabbit hole. She just told you she's diving down the rabbit hole.
No, I said half rabbit hole. I'm going to find what I need and then get out of the rabbit hole. And we're going.
Last time you ever did that,
you and Elizabeth will also be in there. So we'll come up with the number, but it will be in. It's not going to be like more than $30 or something like that. So it's going to be in somewhere in that range, and we can think of it. So I mean, just exciting things, ups and downs. Being an entrepreneur, being the founder of a charity, a foundation. There's ups and downs, and knowing that you want to help, right?
This is by far the hardest thing in the world that I've ever had to do is try and grow a foundation. It makes hockey like a walk in the park compared to what I have to do because of all the embarrassment that is wrapped around it. So it's a mental grind. It's a physical grind. I would rather, take slap shots to the face over and over again than, I shouldn't say rather, it's a hell of a lot easier and less painful than trying to grow this foundation. But I'm not going to stop.
I know you're not. And that's why I asked you to do the podcast. Very nicely.
if that's your nice,
come on, do it. All the cool kids are doing it.
So
you can do it.
The only reason the final words were, you don't have to do anything, you can just show up, is what made me feel okay enough to say yes.
Yep. And I did that not on purpose, just be like, wait, I have it. I just need you to show up. Can you be here at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock your time every Monday?
And so the fear of me having to do research or having to write or having to do this or having to read or this was eliminated.
Yep.
So then I was able to say yes, knowing that whole aspect was eliminated. That's the only reason I said yes.
Yes. And then I'm going to leave it with this. But the thing is, you didn't understand how much I understood dyslexia and not knowing what to do and fear and all of these things, even though I maybe had said, I'm dyslexic, my kid's dyslexic, my dad, and all these different things. You didn't know how I actually was like, okay, I completely understand because I had lived it. But not everyone's experience is the same. And that's even when you are dyslexic, when you're not dyslexic, whatever. If you do not have conversations around it and have the understanding around it, like someone else might not be okay because they're like, ooh, I don't know. So like being open and having these kind of conversations are what are important. Not always easy, but important.
100%.
All righty. Okay. You know what I say every single time, like, rate, review, and share, because you do not know who needs to hear this. Seriously. Someone might be like, wait, I would love to go to the Stanley Cup. And I can put my names in my hat. I know friends and family, but I also, appreciate Brent sharing the story and having his, Elizabeth also understand and see, and you might be in a situation in your relationship where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not being that open. I'm not talking about things that maybe are bothering me. And so again, communication is the word of the day. Isn't that like Sesame Street?
Yeah. Where's Curious George? What was that guy? Has eyes. Where's that guy?
The Count? No, what guy?
Count doesn't count. He's got googly eyes and he's... What's that guy's name? I liked him.
Oh, and he was on it. And yes, I know. I don't remember what his name is. He was a puppet. Now we're going to have to look at it and talk about it. And we'll leave you with that attention deficit moment. Brought to you by the Sopel Foundation. So again, guys, thank you for joining. Like, rate, review, and share. And we will see you for another episode of Word Blindness Dyslexia Exposed.